Okay, so I'm gonna do this in 5 minute spurts. So this is a video that starts completely, well, not completely, but it starts over with the note-taking process. If for some reason you took your binder home and there's no notes, then that is a problem. So we need to figure that out. So if you do that, you could on a piece of paper or in a Google Doc, a blank Google Doc, you could make the outline for yourself once again. So I'm going to go ahead and do that as well, just to model it. So for our outline, the first paragraph is what we're worried about right now. That's the introduction, right? And in the introduction, we should have our hook, something interesting to make the reader want to read, and a thesis statement, which we need to come up with based on our topic. Your thesis statement is your topic. Like, what is the opinion that you want to convince people to agree with? So my model I'm going to use is that video games should be considered a sport. That's my opinion. So that is the thesis statement I'm going to use. So we're going to move on from that right now. And we're going to go to the next paragraph. I want to actually that down. So this is the first body paragraph, and we are going to give one reason why video games should be a sport. So I did do some online research, and one of the reasons I found is that video games are competition. And that's going to be the first reason why I believe video games should be considered a sport. The other one I found for this paragraph is that many people love watching others play video games. And that's my other reason why I think it should be considered a sport. Okay, so those are my two reasons, right? Then the fourth paragraph, if you remember, should be the counterclaim. And that's where I'm going to say some people may argue that video games are not sports. So basically, I'm going to start with some people may argue that, and then I'm going to flip my thesis statement around. Video games are not sports. And then we'll go from there once we get there. Okay. And then this is a 5-paragraph essay. So we have one more paragraph to do, and that is the conclusion. And remember, in your conclusion, the very first thing you do is you restate your thesis statement, which is video games should be considered a sport, and have a strong ending, something memorable. Cool. So that is my first part of my outline. So if you remember the outline we used in class, what we had to do then is we had to figure out evidence. We had to do evidence A, evidence B, and then I said you had the choice of evidence C if you wanted. So we'll just stick with A and B right now. So evidence A, evidence B, no C, so we'll get rid of that guy. And then down here, same thing. Each of my body paragraphs has evidence, right? Now, one thing that I wish I did differently on this outline is I should have specified that each piece of evidence should come from a source. So I'm going to do that right now. So for each piece of evidence, I need to identify the source and what the source said. Okay. So I'll continue that. So every time I talk about a piece of evidence, before I talk about it, I say the source, I say what the source is, and then I say what the source said. But as you recall, that wasn't the only thing we did. The third thing was we had to do analysis. So for each piece of evidence, these three components are required. So I'm going to go ahead and stop and go to the next video, and I'm going to finish creating this outline, and then we're going to fill it in with our sources and our evidence. Okay.